Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of, we'll stick with the Friday Night StarCraft moniker for now. It is still accurate, I am still releasing these on Fridays. I haven't gotten around to asking if anybody would rather a different day, and have I got the game speed on right? Yes I do. Hopefully none of you spotted the length of the game there to spoil yourselves too much. However, as I was saying, today we've got two classics of the genre, you might say. Starting in the bottom left, it is Cure. And in the top right, it is our Terran hero and recent GSL finalist. And spoiler alert, skip forward 10 seconds if you don't want to know this, he did end up finishing second in that tournament. And we'll just wait for people to come back. And okay, that should be people who want to skip that coming back. And yeah, like I said, finalist in the GSL. Some of you may not have watched it or seen the results yet, so I'll try to avoid spoiling it too much for you. However, I will be forced to reveal that it was a Terran versus Terran, all four in the top four. So, what that means is, now I can't remember exactly when this was played, but I believe it was like a day, maybe two, before that finals, which is why I don't believe any of the other four players from that finals are playing in this tournament. I don't think Maru definitely isn't, and I don't think Bunny or Biana are either. So, basically what I'm saying is Cura's probably spent the last 2 weeks playing nothing but Terran versus Terran. Destroying his wrists, you know, all that good stuff. Well, you don't have to split quite as much as you do versus Zerk. However... Oh, a Reaper. Apologies, that probably would have been more interesting to watch while I've been going through this spiel. He didn't get any kills though, so it's all good. A unit been lost yet? Yes, an SCV has died. Is an SCV, right? Yeah. However, as I was saying, Cure almost certainly just been spamming out TVTs, and when you're up against Classic, who's top 5 Protoss in the world, I think it's probably fair to say. I know Cure is probably top 5 Terrans in the world, maybe even less than that. But yeah, it's gonna find this one tricky, I do suggest. However, Cure, he is still very good. He does still know how to play Terran. He's practiced a lot of TVP in the past. So let's just follow these Phoenixes around for the moment, shall we? Warp Gate finishes up. Both players sticking to 2 bases for now. Looks like we're going to be seeing some aggression soon. Neither of them wanting to go too greedy, as the Marines, the Viking, are going to force this Phoenix away for now. And of course, as I talk about how everybody's, sticking to 2 bases, Classic goes and whacks down a third. However, he's done it after 2 Warp Gates, after a Stargate, and a Robo Bay. So, you can't exactly call this the greediest build in the world. On the other side, however, Cure, he's got 2 bases. He's got still only 3 barracks for now. Got Starbuck building a reactor. He got his Raven. Stim's on the way. I do suspect there's some sort of 2-base timing on its way, and Classic is probably going to be wondering whether the third's coming soon, as he just picks up an SCV. I think these Phoenixes, honestly, the main value at the moment is in the scouting information, is working out that that third isn't down. However, while they're in the area, I mean, SCV's an SCV, right? Like, you'd rather kill the SCVs than not kill them, so just, yeah. Like I said, since you're in the area. Cure, however, is, well, I would describe this as preparing. He's not going to have much of an economy behind this. But this is also going to be a scary push. Now, Classic does see pretty much the exact timing it moves out as, well, Cure also elects not to destroy the Observer, which, I don't think it's going to, yeah, okay. But, keeping tabs on the army is relevant. He's got the Phoenixes flying around being a nuisance. Now, in terms of actual army, not a huge amount here. He's got one Colossus with no thermal lance. It has just been disrupted. Does a reasonable job of not taking too much damage from those Widow Mines. Does take them out. However, that Colossus just instantly dies as soon as it spawns. Another Widow Mine shot goes off. Is going to force this back for now from Cure. But shield battery overcharge did get popped on the third. There are no shield batteries in the natural, which I suspect he may want to change. Phoenixes are flying around being a nuisance. They are going to make things very difficult to get down fourth. A third base here. And Classic, you've pushed a long way forward here. I don't think you can really get much done. Picks off a few Marines that had probably used 2 or 3 too many stim packs. Don't do drugs, kids. Yeah, this is what I mean. Just runs in. Picks up the SCV building base. And... Oh, that was unfortunate timing. He's going to manage to get enough out of the Medivacs to force the Phoenixes away. However, it was very close to being very bad. This Observer is still alive, still causing problems. Third base still being denied. Meanwhile, fully saturated third. Fourth base, I think, will be on its way quite soon. Cure really needs to get some damage done with this push. And do we have charge? We have no charge yet. Charge is only halfway done. So these Zealots are going to very slowly walk towards the enemy as Phoenixes do their best to pick up these Widow Mines, which they do manage to do. Fourth base, yeah, 1 Hellion is not going to be enough to deal with that. Still only slow Zealots. However, Classic doing a very good job of just stymieing these pushes. Just continuously not really letting a lot get done. And the number of Marines that Cure has, it's actually a little bit difficult to do with these Phoenixes, I feel. Like, don't get me wrong, the Phoenixes cannot take these Marines in a straight up fight. But there's also not enough Marines to just sort of scatter them around and make sure you always get a good attack off. Hellion. No blink either. The Twilight tech has been quite slow to come online this game. Charge only just finishing up now and blink starting. However, 1-1 will come on, and that will be a nice little boost of power here. Get him back in line with Cure's own 1-1. Widow Mine, well, that's going to find the army. It's not going to find any damage. However, Cure just responds to it. Needs to get this third base going, as that is very, very... 10 minutes and he's only starting the orbital now is really not ideal. Classic just continuing to move. I believe Cure finally killed that Observer. Yeah, that Observer put in so much work. But Classic, keeping an eye on things. Those Phoenixes following his army around. He is also expanding up to this gold base in the top left here. He's taking the safe side, so gonna suggest that you're probably planning on pumping out a lot of Zealots, which yeah, that can be a solid play. These ghosts are yeah, they're gonna struggle a little bit. EMPs are very good. They're not quite as good against Zealots because it only takes out a third of their health rather than half, like for just about every other Protoss unit. However, huge disruption hits. Classic is just pounding through here. Archon taking on SCVs is exactly what you want to have happen. There is just about enough to force this back, how I believe. However, 13 SCVs going down is nothing to sneeze at. We'll just about warp Disruptor home. Observer runs in to commit suicide, which I assume was the intent of that. And now Cure is going to head back across the map, lands the Vikings. He wants to try and get some counter damage done, which he's going to need to do because it's currently 3 base versus 5. Gets the Disruptors, focuses them all down except for one of them. Not the best hit though. Oh, another one coming in from the south side, doesn't hit anything. The second one will get focused down. Stalkers continuing, keep firing in. Zealots finally coming forward. Really need the Zealots to deal with those Vikings. Stalkers aren't going to deal with that very well. Vikings deal too much damage. And Marauders continuing. The push is continuing here from Cure. Classic needs to keep warping in, and he will do so. Good EMP on the Stalkers there. That takes down almost all of their shields. Zealots, however, are able to continue pushing in. The ghost count is dropping. However, reinforcements are trickling in from both sides. Pair of Disruptors waiting. No more building at the moment. Classic too focused on the front line, and honestly, who can blame him? Does clear out the Widow Mine. That's going to be important. That was making a problem for him. And as the reinforcements are coming forward, Classic does have a little bit more. He has his 2-2 now. Cure still only on 1-1. Terra, yeah, okay, so he gets down here. He does take out the 4th base. I don't think this is going to survive, and honestly, I'm not sure any of the... Oh, maybe it will. Actually, it hasn't taken anywhere near the damage I thought it would. As... just sends out the Disruption Web. Just about manages... Disruption Web? What is this? Brood War? The Disruptors will run in front of the Stalkers, doing a good job of distracting there. DT does get spotted, unfortunately. Immortals and Zealots now heading back in. As the only Marauders now, and so there's not going to be huge amounts of damage done, however. Concussive Shell is always going to be a huge pain. Good EMP on the army there. However, the Ghost is going to survive in the end. Zealot's just switching up, going for a run by now, I think. Playing probably hide up there, trying to run into the 3rd in a minute. As Widow Mine's continuing to cause damage. Meanwhile, another push. Focusing down the Immortals, getting some good focus fire there. Stalker's being left to deal a bunch of damage. Disruptor shot, doesn't quite manage to hit anything. Doesn't even get the Widow Mine there, unfortunately. As Zealots will run forward. Widow Mine's about to come off cooldown. Cure dashing back forwards, possibly hoping to take advantage, trying to bait Classic back into it, and Classic will be baited and lose another Zealot. Widow Mine taken out. Cure just checking for another Observer. However, yeah, he's scouting for his 5th base. I think he feels there's another base somewhere, but he's not located it so far. He doesn't know about that gold base. Unless I am mistaken. No, he has no idea up there. We'll move back around to the bottom side. Spots the probe going for the 5th. What he thinks would be his 5th. Ooh. Blinks forward, gets the Liberator. Does eat a fair bit of damage there in response, though. Does manage to take out the Widow Mine. Takes out a Ghost. Not letting Cure build up big Ghost stockpile, however. That was a big EMP. And forcing all of those Stalkers back now that the Disruptor shot is back on cooldown. A couple of Stalkers got lost there at the back. Will die for their sins. 4th base now landed for Cure. That was not his natural. Sorry, his main. However, he's got 29 SCVs going there because his main and his natural are basically mined out. Excuse me. Picking off ghosts. Disruptor shot's not quite able to find the damage. Classic. Trying to establish another base. It's lost here. Has, let's just say it's been Terran favored. The thing is, though, that Classic has the money to burn. And honestly, I wouldn't hate him just warping in around Zelds up here. Going for some sort of backstab. However, he may not have the warp-ins to spare right now because Cure. No. Still hasn't worked it out. It's just, I think he's just trying to go for a different angle. Maybe thinks there'll be a base up here he wants to try and pick off. He is going to get chased up here now, and... Oh, that was a misclick. Sorry. Picks off this pylon. We get to watch this enthralling pylon death again. Disruptor shot doesn't see anything, and you might know that the base is being taken now. However, his army is being jumped on quite badly. He's losing all of his ghosts. Doesn't manage to pick any of them up. I think the medevac usage has really been what's crippled Cure in this game. Zelds get on top of this base. That command center dies. That was the natural command center. No way of saving that. He's got a Liberator sitting over here, so I'm going to get some Zelds ran by there. Does manage to pick up the base at the bottom. However, Cure can afford to lose it. Classic can afford to lose it. However, Cure cannot afford to lose this command center, as he's just bleeding SCVs. The push is continuing on the bottom side. Classic is making the classic blunder of base racing a Terran. It's up there with challenging a Sicilian and where an honor is on the line, something like that. I can't remember. I'm one of about 5 people in the world who never watched that movie. However, I should have just gone with the Land War in Asia. It's the one I know. Oh, good disruptor shot. Picks off ghosts. Gets another ghost. Forcing the splits. Picks off a Marine. Gets his army out of there using the orange force fields. Force fields of doom. Gonna guess there was a widow mine up there or something. Gets cleaned out either way. Comes up here. Yep, there is a turret protecting this command center. And it's incredibly precious mineral iron, as that is only mining Cure has. I think, yeah, this Cure is going for it here. However, even with all of the disruptors getting focused down, I'm just not quite sure he has enough. He got good AMPs. He got killed all of the disruptors. However, all the medevacs are down now, and he just does not have enough units. Ghost will get picked off here in just a second, I imagine. No. Forces Classic to blink back. However, Classic has 100 army supply. Cure has 40. There's also 72 workers to 30. I think it's about time for Cure to tap out of this one, as he's going to lose about 30 SCVs there. But yeah, you know, all 30 of his remaining SCVs. Somehow the Ghost manages to dodge that by running towards it. And yes, Cure has had enough. We head to Game 2. We are in Game 2 now. We're on Ancient Cistern, and well, that was an action-packed Game 1, I think we can all say. Cure it was a little bit of a slow burner at the start, with Classic just running around with a few Phoenixes, picking off SCVs here and there, but once Cure decided it was time to push at about the 6 or 7 minute mark, that game did not stop at any point. My throat may die after this cast if this game is anything like as action-packed as that last game was. Classic? Well... I think this is actually pretty standard, my bad. I got caught out by the path he was taking, and like, is he proxy? No, he was making sure the Cure wasn't going... Well, I've only really built TVT builds for the past 3 weeks. Let's just proxy your axe. Alternatively, go for the classic Mario proxy everything. And then fly the barracks you're building your main across the map. Cure. Classic instead, just gonna be a pain. We've all dealt with this Protoss player on ladder. There isn't a good way of dealing with him. You just do what you can, except your command center is going to be about a week late. And hope you can punish him with a Reaper or something, because there really isn't anything you can do. It's incredibly annoying, but there just isn't anything you can do about it. In response, however, Kira's built a Reaper. It should arrive at approximately the exact time that the Adept finishes, and he will see that an Adept is finished. Honestly, that's how this early game feels like it goes sometimes. He'll punch a pylon a few times, try to juke out this Adept, not really succeed. And that'll be about all that she writes. Meanwhile, the more interesting things happening at the moment are the Stargate in the back of Classic's base. Cure, not the most comfortable. It whacks down the bunker. Just to be sure. We'll also build a factory. And now a starport. Command center. Finishing up. Probes chrono boosting. We are headed for a standard game, boys. Yeah, okay, this looks like it's the Sewer Scout. Honestly, probably the correct choice. Doesn't quite... Would he have killed that with one more shot? I don't think so. I think it would have ended up on 2 health. It was worth a shot. He wasn't getting anything else out of the Reaper. The important thing was to see what the tech was, and that he did manage to do. He's seen the Phoenix. It is going to fly across the map. And there are going to be Marines waiting for it. Ooh. Just about manages to dodge the Widow Mine. One Phoenix on his own. Not exactly terrifying. Probably want to move that Widow Mine so that... or maybe it'll be the... Well, surely I'll move my Widow Mine, so he'll fly through the place where the Widow Mine was, because he knows that's the place where it won't be next time. However... Classic also went for the ever traditional, only building 2 Phoenixes off of your Stargate. As, you know, you only need to build 1 of everything. Or is this gonna... Oh, sorry, no, this is, just about gonna be the Noah's Ark build, I think. Second Immortal on the way. He did build an extra Adept. So it's not the fully correct Noah's Ark build. However, we got a second Zealot, a second Sentry. Then I think we could absolutely call that a Noah's Ark push if he did something like that. Hellion in the meantime, just having a bit of a gander. Few shield batteries going down. I think here, well, Classic is a little bit uncertain, and well, did he? He didn't say anything particularly stating that this was. Maybe he saw enough Marines. Did he realize the 3rd base wasn't on the way? He definitely knows now that there's no 3rd base on the way. And so it just becomes the game of trying to delay the push as long as possible. However, the thing that's really going to set the timing of this push, I think, is when one +1 attack finishes when stim and combat shields finish. He's gonna have enough Widow Mines, he's gonna have the tanks, he's gonna have the Raven. I think destroying the Observer as you move across the map this time could be a big deal. I think it's important he tries to make sure he does that. He is protecting his production with this missile turret and the SCV line, however, not going to be able to prevent Classic from running in and picking one off. However, it is time. Stim pack's 10 seconds away, +1's 10 seconds away. That means it's push time. However, on the other side, Extended Thermal Lance and 2 Colossi are going to be finished. So, that's not going to be the easiest push in the world. Colossi are pretty good against Widow Mines. They are very good against Marines. Not so much Marauders, but he's got a couple of Immortals. He's got enough other units to just get in the way of the Marauders that he should be able to get to them in time. Raven disables both Colossi, but does die for that crime. The Widow Mines get picked up. Colossus gets killed as soon as it finishes. Robotics Bay does get focused down. These Marines are all the way in. However, the disruption is now finished. These probes run into the corner. They probably should have run a little bit further. However, this push will get cleaned up pretty soon. 11 probes dying. That does leave things, and 2 medevacs as well will go down. So that will leave things, as they stand, slightly favored in the SCV count for Cure. However, the third base is not yet done for Cure. And Classic kept the vast majority of it, like the core of his army, alive in that push. Does not have an Observer, I do not believe. Ooh, this is a Widow Mine there. He's gonna get a push on this third here. Couple of Vikings are very annoying for Colossi, but probably not enough to kill them on their own. Does force the lift. The SCVs run forward to get the repair on the command center, which will result in all of their deaths, and that completely undoes all of that probe damage that Cure managed to get done earlier. Won't quite be able to force down the command center at this point in time. However, he kills Cure's entire army. These 2 Vikings are going to take out one Colossus, force the other to recall home. These 2 Stalkers pick off a Viking. They're probably going to head home now as well. That push has done all the damage it needed to do. It killed 10 SCVs. It almost killed the command center. It delayed that command center building SCVs for a very long time. Long enough for Classic to get down a 4th base now. Which, you don't have to be ahead of the Terran all the time. However, it's usually nice to be. And if we look at the army supply, it's a little bit small for Classic, but he's got a lot of the core units he needs. Get some Zealots. Is Charge finished yet? Charge is not finished yet, so Charge needs to complete. And, yep, that Widowbone drop, I assume it was a drop, because maybe they just ran in. Point is, it got some damage done. It needed to, but it did. This push in the bottom will get spotted by that pylon. Cure knows that the base isn't there. Classic will have a defense force position to respond. The other 4 Widowbones load up. Cure looks like he's just trying to recover from the damage with Widow Mine drops, and there's some merit to that idea. However, he's going to need a 4th base soon, as main's mining out. Natural's not going to last that much longer. 3rd base obviously is still pretty full, but that's only because he took it so late. Or at least managed to get solid mining from it so late. Another spotter pylon will get taken out. Classic has the supply to deal with that. Meanwhile, Cure just keeping tabs on everything. He's spreading around. It feels like he's trying to catch Classic being greedy, but he's not willing to push into any currently already established bases, or perhaps just going around trying to wait for Classic to move out, which Classic is doing. However, not in the way the Cure is really prepared for, and may in fact catch him out here. Just needs his army to regroup here, because the Colossi and the Disruptors have gotten completely split off from the rest of the army. 4 Stalkers also split off from the rest of the army and moved through the south. The Force Field of Death. 3rd base goes down, in fact. Cure does not get that lifted off in time. The Marine Marauder is going to try and push in. A lot of SCVs pushing in, but they're pushing into Colossi, which does not end well for them. There's a lot of Widow Mines out the back, however, they do not end up finishing things off. So push gets cleaned up. Pusher Classic gets cleaned up, and he does not have many what was it? DT was in the main, dealing massive damage. Now, Classic does not have a huge number of units now. He's got this squad of Zealots, and Cure has a pretty reasonable force of 20 Marines, 10 Marauders, and a handful of Ghosts. Probably going to need some big Disruptor hits here, and some good work from the shield batteries. Vikings really ought to be landing right about now, I feel. They're not doing any good up there. Some huge EMPs across the army. Classic getting surrounded here. Oh, the Widow Mines are right on top of him. But most of the hits get dodged. Vikings do manage to take down a War Prison full of Stalkers. Classic, I think, will lose this base. However, that can be dealt with. Drop into the main could be a problem there, because that's one pylon powering a lot of gateways. Yes, base goes to go down. Shield battery will also likewise meet its end. 15 probes have died, but well, now the ghosts go down. Does not have the ghost to spare. Vikings finally land. I think they probably should have done that about a minute ago. However, Disruptor shots continue going through. Classic continues whittling down this army. Some really good use of these Stalkers and Disruptors here. Big Disruptor hit there. And forces a lift up. Just about every Terror Bio unit has its own medevac at this point in time. However, they need to jump inside to avoid the Disruptor shots. Shield battery overcharge goes down. This army is almost entirely medevacs now. Classic can push across the map, and I don't think Cure will be staying in this one much longer, unless Classic just decides to stand in a Widow Mine for about 10 minutes. He has mining. Cure does not. Cure decides he's had enough of this. He wants to get back to practicing with GSL. And that will move Classic on to the next round of this tournament. Well, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed that absolutely action-packed game. I know I certainly did. So, if you have made it this far, and you're still listening through this outro, which, yeah, let's be real, does anybody ever listen to outros? And you have still forgotten, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down the bottom, and I hope to catch you next time. Goodbye.